Before we continue the video, I want to tell you some super important information that you should know, guys. It's about Top Up Live. Top Up Live is a trusted top-up service offering a variety of your favorite top games such as Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. As a global platform, Top Up Live offers a variety of popular local and international live streaming and game top-ups. Game cards, gift cards, and game CD keys with digital catalog has over 3,000 game channels. Supported by 70 international partners and more than 126 gaming communities worldwide. Of course, Top Up Live also offers the best prices up to 25% off, which means you can get much cheaper prices than you can get today. Still not enough, you can enter the promo code at the time of purchase and get an additional sweet 8% discount. Still not sure about Top Up Live? Do not worry, Top Up Live is a leading global brand with over 10 years of experience specializing in providing online game stores and distribution platforms for live streamers, gamers, game developers, and publishers. Of course, it's 100% legit. So what are you waiting for? Start using Top Up Live right now. Okay guys, in a few days we will enter the latest version of Zenless Zone Zero, version 1.7. And as usual, there will be 2 characters that will be released in that version. One of which is Vivian, a character that is highly anticipated by many players because she has a beautiful and charming face. And to be honest, some time ago I tried Vivian in the beta version and I must admit that this character is very interesting and includes a very strong character. So will Vivian be the character you need for your team? Without further ado, I'm Hoyo Station and we will discuss the ultimate guide for Vivian version 1.7. Let's do this. Okay, as usual, before we go deeper into her kit, we will talk about her base stats first. Vivian has approximately the same base HP as Miyabi, who has the same role, which is Anomaly. But even so, they both still have differences in their Anomaly proficiency, where Vivian has a lower Anomaly proficiency than Miyabi. Now if we compare it with Bernice, Vivian's Anomaly mastery is much higher than Bernice, which is at 144 points. However, she has similar Anomaly proficiency at 118 points and 120 points. Of course, from this base stats information alone, we can see that Vivian has the potential to become a fairly flexible character. Similar to Bernice, where she becomes an Anomaly off-field support or on-field DPS depending on the team composition and build that we form. Okay, now I will explain Vivian's basic mechanics first so that you can understand more about her kit. Vivian uses 2 types of charge mechanics called Flight Feathers and Guard Feathers. First of all, what are Flight Feathers? Vivian's Flight Feathers mechanic are special points that Vivian gets when performing certain skills in her kit, such as using Noblewoman Waltz, using Chain Attack, using EX Special Attack, Assist Follow-Up, and also using Ultimate. When we have Flight Feathers, we can use Flight Feathers as a condition for using another skill of hers, namely Basic Attack Flying Frog Suspension, which will give new points called Guard Feather as many Flight Feathers as consumed and produce damage to the enemy. Then what is the use of Guard Feathers? Guard Feathers is used as an additional attack on the enemy called Basic Attack Feather Bloom when our teammates uses EX Special Attack on the enemy or when the enemy gets Anomaly. So in essence, Guard Feathers is energy that is used to help attack enemies off the field. The more Guard Feathers points we have, the more often we can attack enemies from behind the screen. Okay, if you already understand the concept of Vivian's kit, then next we will discuss the basic attack first, which has 4 versions. For the first version, named Basic Attack Feathered Strike, will launch 4 attacks forward and deal physical and ether damage after the 4th attack. Vivian will enter Noblewoman State mode, and if you have Flight Feathers points, holding the basic attack button after the 4th basic attack will enter the Fluttering Frog state. For the second basic attack, named Noblewoman Basic Attack Waltz, if we press the attack button while in Noblewoman mode, Vivian will attack forward and deal ether damage and feel 1 Flight Feathers. When Vivian uses this skill, she will immune to attacks. Oh yeah, if Perfect Dodge triggers during this skill, it will give an additional 1 Flight Feather so that we will get 2 Flight Feathers directly. If Flight Feathers are available after launching this skill, it will enter the Fluttering Frog state, which can be cancelled by holding the dodge button when the skill is used. Okay, then for the third version of basic attack named Basic Attack Flying Frog Suspension. This skill can be used if Vivian is in a Flying Frog state or Vivian is flying using her umbrella. This skill will launch a forward attack and provide ether damage. After activation, this skill will also consume all flight feathers, and every 1 flight feather is consumed, Vivian gets 1 guard feather. Similar to the previous version of basic attack, Vivian will be immune to damage when launching this skill. Then when switching characters when Vivian is in Flowering Frog state, Vivian will automatically launch the basic attack Flowering Frog suspension. While in the Flowering Frog state, press the basic attack button to exit the Flowering Frog state. As for the last version of basic attack named Basic Attack Feather Bloom, when another character on the team launches EX special attack and hits the target, Vivian will consume 1 guard feather to launch Basic Attack Feather Bloom against the enemy, dealing ether damage and can be triggered at most once per skill use. This effect can be triggered when Vivian is in off-field position, and the maximum guard feather that we can accommodate is 5 stacks. Well, this skill is one of the mainstay kits from Vivian, guys, because with this skill, we can launch a very massive attack even though Vivian is in off-field position. So with this kit, we can position Vivian as an off-field DPS agent. Of course, this kit will be very fitting if we combine it with Astroyao's kit. For example, because Astrayao will be able to often issue her EX special attack through her Tremolo attack. Next, we will move on to her special attack. Like characters in general, Vivian has 2 types of special attack. For the first version, Vivian will make a fast forward attack, which is unique in that the damage given to the enemy has 2 types of attributes, namely in the form of physical and ether damage. Then for the EX special attack version, Vivian will attack with a strong attack towards the front and deal massive ether damage to the enemy and fill her 3 flight feathers. Vivian will be invulnerable as long as this skill is active. When this attack is triggered, Vivian will enter the Flowering Frog state. This EX special attack has a pretty good effect, guys, which gives 3 flight feathers to Vivian, which is useful for converting into a guard feather, which can later be used to launch the basic attack Feather Bloom. Of course, with this good effect from the EX special attack, we need a high enough energy regeneration so that we can launch this skill more consistently. Next, we will discuss something that is no less important than Vivian's kit, which is Vivian's chain attack Chorus of Celestial Wings. This skill will provide a strong attack on a large area forward and cause massive ether damage and fill 2 flight feathers. After the chain attack is triggered, Vivian will enter the Flowering Frog state, which can be cancelled by holding the dodge button during the launch of the skill. What's interesting about this kit is that it's also a very good in combination with Astrayao, especially in the ultimate part, which triggers the chain attack of teammates, so that this skill can be used to the fullest. Then for the ultimate of Vivian itself, named Soaring Bird's Song, will give an attack in the form of a massive ether damage in the rear to the enemy in front, and fill 5 flight feathers. Just like her chain attack, after this skill is triggered, Vivian will enter the Flowering Frog state, which can be cancelled by holding the dodge button during the skill launch. Okay, for me personally, the effect of this ultimate has a very interesting effect, because when this skill is triggered, we immediately get 5 flight feathers, which is the maximum limit of flight feathers that can be obtained. In other words, our flight feather will be immediately be full charged just by launching this ultimate. One thing that is quite tricky here, because this ultimate will give maximum flight feathers. Then before using this ultimate, we should use all of the flight feathers we have first, so that no flight feathers are wasted. And next, we will move on to her core skill, which is named Core Passive Dirge of Destiny. For its effect, Vivian will give an attack called a Bloom to enemies that are hit by basic attack Feather Bloom and have the effect of Anomaly Ether, Electric, Fire, Physical or Ice. A Bloom itself deals additional anomaly damage to the enemy. The additional anomaly damage that will be given to the enemy has scaling based on the ratio that has been determined in her kit. But we can see from the comparison that the Electric, Fire and Ether attributes get the highest ratio. So this kit will be maximized when combined with these attributes. Oh yeah, the addition of anomaly damage is calculated based on every 10 of Vivian's anomaly proficiency. In other words, the higher the anomaly proficiency we have, the greater the additional anomaly damage to the enemy. In addition to the cool effect just now, this core skill has another effect that is quite unique. If basic attack Flowering Frog suspension or basic attack Feather Bloom hits a target that has any anomaly attribute effect, it will cause Vivian's prophecy, which will cause the enemy to be hit by ether damage equal to 55% of Vivian's attack every 0.55 seconds. This effect can trigger additional damage from anomaly attributes. This effect will also disappear when the target is no longer in the anomaly state. When entering battle, Vivian will immediately charge 2 flight feathers. Then for the additional ability section, Prophetic Tears will activate if there are other agents with anomaly rolls or agents who have the same attribute, namely Ether. In effect, when a teammate gives anomaly attributes to an enemy, Vivian will consume 1 guard feather to launch a basic attack for the bloom on the target. This effect can be triggered every 0.5 seconds. This ability also increases corrupted damage and disorder damage caused by corruption by 12%. Honestly, the effect of this additional ability is very good guys. How not? The effect of her additional ability will give a basic attack for the bloom attack of the field to the target every time a teammate gives an attribute anomaly to the enemy. This means characters like Yanagi can maximize this kit very well. In addition, the corruption damage and disorder damage generated through anomaly corruption will also increase, which means the more characters with Ether attribute in our team, the more we can maximize the effects of this kit. Okay, don't forget to also discuss about her MINDSCAPE. MINDSCAPE 1 is called Walking into the Orchard in Spring. When a total of 4 guard feathers have been consumed, it will fill 1 flight feathers. All attribute anomaly and disorder damage received by enemies during Vivian's prophecy is increased by 16%. The effect of this MINDSCAPE will provide 1 free flight feathers for every 4 guard feathers consumed, which means we will get more and more flight feathers for Vivian, which automatically means Vivian will also get guard feathers faster. In addition, all damage dealt during Vivian's prophecy will also increase by 16%, whether it's anomaly damage or disorder damage, where anomaly damage and disorder damage attacks from teammates and Vivian herself during Vivian's prophecy will increase. The disadvantage of this effect is that the additional damage from Vivian during Vivian's prophecy will not be affected. Only the effect of anomaly damage and disorder damage, and the effect of increasing this damage will disappear when the enemy is no longer in Vivian's prophecy status. As for MINDSCAPE 2, called Stormy Night, Vivian's Ether anomaly build-up rate increases by 25%, which makes it easier for Vivian to give status corruption to the enemy. In addition, the bloom enhancement effect of anomaly proficiency increases by 130% from its original value, and the enemy target's resistance is ignored by 15%. The effect of MINDSCAPE 2 is quite good and where Vivian can give her anomaly status faster, which is because the main source of damage from agents with anomaly rolls comes from the anomaly attribute. So the faster it makes the enemy enter the anomaly attribute effect, the greater the damage given. In addition, the increase of every 10 anomaly proficiency from her core skill also increases again by about 130% from the initial value in her kit, which makes the damage from the bloom attack given even greater. For the 4th MINDSCAPE named The Wing Between the Reeds, making the basic attack Fluttering Frog suspension and basic attack for the bloom always provide critical attacks, and increase Vivian's attack by 12% for 12 seconds after launching the skill, and each re-triggered skill will reset the duration of the additional attack. Upon entering battle, Vivian immediately gets 5 guard feathers. The effect of her 4th MINDSCAPE is very interesting guys. Attacks from basic attack while flying and also when off the field are confirmed critical, which is good effect. Because as we know, anomaly agents focus on anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery and will not pay attention to the critical status at all. In addition, there's also an additional attack for Vivian for 12%, which can be triggered quite often because the basic attack for the bloom attack will be triggered frequently. In addition, when entering battle, Vivian will also get maximum stack from guard feathers, which will be very useful for launching basic attack for the bloom at the beginning of the battle, which will increase the damage output of Vivian herself. And for the last MINDSCAPE named Vivian, yes, the MINDSCAPE name is her own name. This MINDSCAPE will increase Vivian's Ether damage by 40%. Also, when triggering a perfect dodge during basic attack normal woman waltz, dash, or using EX special attack Violet Requiem, gain 1 additional flight feather. Also, launching basic attack Fluttering Frog suspension consumes all guard feathers. The downward attack's area of effect increases, and upon hit, triggers a special instance of a bloom. Each additional guard feather consumed will increase the proportion of additional anomaly damage dealt by that instance of a bloom, consuming a maximum of 5 guard feathers to increase the damage up to a maximum of 5 times the original. Of course, the effect of this MINDSCAPE is very good guys, because it has tons of new effects, such as increase Vivian's Ether damage by 40% without any conditions, as well as additional stacks obtained from basic attack Noble Woman Waltz, and also EX special attack Violet Requiem could get a total of 4 Flight Feathers. In addition, now the basic attack Flowering Frog suspension will consume all God Feathers owned at that time, as well as the damage that can be given a maximum of up to 5 times the original damage if it consumes 5 God Feathers directly. This effect is certainly very good and changes the gameplay of Vivian, because she does not need to launch her basic attack Feather Bloom or additional ability if she wants to use God Feather to deal damage. Next, we will discuss Vivian's signature W engine named Flight of Fancy. As you can see, the advanced stat of this W engine can increase the user's anomaly proficiency by 90 points, which will be very suitable for Vivian's kit. Then for the effect of this W engine, it will increase the attribute anomaly build up by 40%. When the user launches ether damage, the user's anomaly proficiency will increase again by 20 points for 5 seconds, and can be stacked up to 6 times, guys. This effect can be triggered every 0.5 seconds. Triggering this effect repeatedly will refresh the existing duration. Well, the effect possessed by this W engine is certainly very interesting, because this W engine will increase the anomaly build up by 40%, which means that the enemy will get into anomaly status faster even though Vivian does not have anomaly proficiency as high as other characters. In addition, this W engine will increase 20 anomaly proficiency, which can be stacked up to 6 times, which if we count will be 120 anomaly proficiency if the user launches ether damage. What do you think? For the choice of W engine to maximize Vivian's kit is Flight of Fancy, which is her signature W engine because all the effects of her signature W engine provide all the things needed to increase the damage output for Vivian's kit, especially in the anomaly proficiency stats. For the S-Rank W engine alternative, you can use Time Weaver, which is Yanagi's signature. Although other effects such as electric anomaly build-up rate are not too influential, an additional 75 points of anomaly proficiency, and also if you have 375 points of anomaly proficiency, disorder damage will increase by 25%. Of course, it's good on her. For alternative A-Rank W engines, you can use Electro-Lip Gloss, which gives an advanced stat in the form of anomaly proficiency and deals additional damage if you give an attribute's status. But keep in mind that this W engine comes from a battle pass that is required to buy to get it, so it's not free to play friendly. For other alternatives, you can use Rainforest Gourmet, which has an advanced stat in the form of anomaly proficiency of 75 points. Okay, for disk drive that can be recommended for Vivian is 4 sets of Phaeton's Melody, of which 2 sets will increase the user's anomaly mastery by 8%, and 4 sets when a teammate uses EX special attack, the user will get an increase in anomaly proficiency by 45 points for 8 seconds. If the character using EX special attack is not the user's ether damage is increased by 25%. The effect of this W engine is very suitable for Vivian, who is an agent with ether attributes. For other options, you can use 4 sets of Freedom Blues, of which 2 sets provide 30 anomaly proficiency and 4 sets reduce enemy resistant build-up anomaly if the user's EX special attack hits the enemy, where at least Vivian can still get all the effects of this disk drive. For the 2-set disk drive options, you can use 2 sets of Chaos Jazz or 2 sets of Freedom Blues for additional anomaly proficiency. Anyway, you can see the status recommendations you can use down below. Finally, we come to the last part of this video, which is about the best teammates that can be paired with Vivian. As stated in the additional ability requirements, Vivian is an anomaly agent with ether attribute, which requires a certain requirement, namely having a partner with anomaly role or agent with a similar ether attribute on the team. The first character that is suitable for pairing with Vivian is Bernice. Bernice has an anomaly role with the fire attribute, which will also trigger disorder with Vivian. In addition, Bernice can give fire anomaly to the enemy very much in a short time. In addition, the core passive effect possessed by Vivian will increase the damage caused to the enemy through her anomaly attack. The next character who is also suitable for pairing with Vivian is Yanagi. How not? Yanagi herself has an anomaly role with electric attribute which can both trigger disorder very easily. Moreover, Yanagi requires a long enough on field where Vivian can provide attacks while off the field will be very suitable for her. In addition, Yanagi can also increase the disorder damage of teammates which can be triggered frequently because Yanagi and Vivian are 2 agents who have different attributes. It's impossible if I don't mention Astro Yao in the list of characters who are very well paired with Vivian. Yep, they both have the same attribute, namely Ether, making anomaly corruption trigger faster. In addition, Astro Yao's kit is very easy to trigger EX special attack, which means Vivian will be more often to issue a bloom attacks, which is her main kit. For the last character who is also agent with the physical attribute with the anomaly role is Piper. She is also suitable to be paired with Vivian because Vivian's own kit is very flexible for anomaly DPS with any attribute, guys. Although Piper here may be rarely used because of the many existing DPS anomaly as rank agents, she can still be used together with Vivian if you don't have the other DPS anomaly that I mentioned just now. Okay guys, maybe that's all for now. What do you think about Vivian? If there's anything you want to ask, please type in the comments down below and don't forget to check out my other videos because they are just as cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy and see you in the next video.